Welcome back to the Daily Move. Today we're focusing on the spine, a little bit into the hips and the shoulders, and touching a little bit into the neck as well. So we're going to start here on all fours, doing your regular cat-cow. We're just going to do 3 of these. And don't worry about the form right now because we're going to get picky here in a second. So just whatever version of cat-cow you prefer, just to start getting that spine to start moving. So next we're going to go to the pelvis, and now it's the pelvis that's actually driving this cat-cow. So I'm doing an anterior posterior tilt of that pelvis, working more my lower lumbar in this cat-cow. Next we're going to move to the shoulders, so I'm sinking in the shoulder blades and then pressing away. Now doing the cat-cow more into the thoracic and getting the shoulders involved. And now we're just doing it with our neck. So we're tucking the chin and then going into that extension piece, looking up towards the ceiling. Now we're going to go into a spinal wave. So starting in child's pose, we're tilting that pelvis to create that wave up towards our shoulders, starting to sink down, going more into an up dog, tucking that chin down, rounding vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way back down into that child's pose. We're going to repeat that 3 times, going through that full spinal wave, trying to envision every vertebrae moving. So next we're going to go into a kneeling cat-cow. So you can hear we're going into that spinal flexion extension again, really rounding that spine, tucking the chin, tall chest into spinal extension there. So now we're kneeling. You're going to walk one hand away, bringing the ear to the opposite side, feeling a nice stretch into the neck. And switching sides, doing the same thing. So next we're going to do neck rolls, So bringing your ear to your shoulder, tucking the chin down, rolling all the way to the other side, going into neck extension at the end, finishing that circle. Once you get to the start of the circle, we're going to reverse the direction, doing the same thing backwards. Making sure that the shoulders aren't getting involved here, keep them down. So next we're going to work on the shoulders. So shoulders elevate, depress, protract, and retract. So we're going to try to make a full circle here. And reversing direction, doing the same thing. Now we're going to see if we can do this on all fours. So can you create that smooth circle in that shoulder blade being on all fours? And switch directions. You can also try this standing up against the wall, having your hands on the wall. That might be easier to try to make those circles happen. So next we're in a half kneeling stance and we're creating spinal rotation. It's okay to use the wall to find that end range, but then you're going to hold for 3 seconds without using the wall. We're going to go 5 on one side and then we're going to switch sides. Same thing on the opposite side now. So make sure your entire thigh is touching the wall the entire time. This is going to stop you cheating from rotating through the hips. So now we're going to work that rotation, but in an extension position. So touching your heel here, you're going to do a back bend and try to twist over that shoulder, creating a spinal rotation in that extension. So next we're in a half kind of lunge position here, and we're doing a diagonal windmill with our arms. Trying to get our back flat on the wall, holding there for a few seconds. I really enjoyed this stretch. We're going to do 5 on one side and then repeat that on the opposite side. So switching directions here. So next we're going to work on wall slides here. So you're standing, arms are tall, and you're trying to slide your rib cage. So keep your hips still and reach from one side to the other. So next you're going to want something to balance on, and we're going to do 3 hip flexions here. So you're going to lift your leg off the ground, holding for 3 seconds and back down. You can use anything to help stabilize, a foam roller, a coffee table. Next we're going to do 3 hip abductions, where you're kind of peeing on a fire hydrant here, where you're lifting the leg up to the side. Try to keep a nice tall spine here. And now we're going to do 3 extensions where you kick backwards. Be mindful that you're not getting this motion from your back. You just want it from the glutes. And now we're going to do a circle with that. So you're going to come back, you're going to lift up, bring the leg out to the side, internally rotate that leg, extend it backwards, drop it down. And now you're going to kick backwards, lift it up towards the side, and then you're going to rotate that leg and then bring it back to center. We're going to repeat 3 of these. Every time you do it, try to focus on cleaning up the range a little bit better. Okay, we're gonna switch sides here and we're going to do the same thing. So first is that hip flexion where you lift up and hold for 3 seconds. And now we're gonna pee on the fire hydrant. Same thing, holding for 3 seconds. And next, doing the hip extension, watching that it's not coming from the low back. And now we're going to combine all 3 motions there into hip circle. So you're lifting up, bringing the leg out to the side, hip internally rotating that leg, hip extension, kicking back, bringing that knee in and back to center, kicking it back, hip abduction, rotating it and bringing it back to center. I always find after doing 3 to 4 repetitions of these, my hips feel really smooth afterwards, but when I first start, it feels pretty clunky. So work with your available range, and it's okay if you can't get this motion down the first time you try it. It definitely took me a couple goes before I could actually do that circle. So next you're gonna need some kind of small object, and your back is gonna be up against the wall. What you're gonna do is you're gonna flex your foot towards the shin, hip flex, lift it up, point the toe, and then get it across that object. And then you're gonna flex the foot again, dropping the heel down. And you're just gonna alternate legs here. So next we're going to go into a kneeling pigeon pose here, and you're going to lean forward, feeling strength in the glute of the bent knee as you lift up the other leg. You're going to hold it for 5 seconds and then go into pigeon for 5 seconds. And we're going to repeat this 5 times. So that bottom leg is really working there. You should feel that glute engage. Now you can stay in a low pigeon and work the straight leg glute by trying to lift up that leg. That's another exercise. That's also a great way to activate the glute. So your choice. In this variation here, I'm deciding to work the glute of the bent knee because it really has to stabilize you up in that position there. Once you've done your 5, we're going to switch sides, going into that pigeon pose again. And you're using the strength of that leg that's on the ground still to be able to lift that other leg up. And then relaxing into that glute stretch in that pigeon pose. So next, you're laying on your stomach, you're bringing one leg up, and we're working hip internal rotation here as we lift that leg up towards the ceiling. You want to hold for 5 seconds before you lower down, and you're going to repeat that 5 times. Next, you're going to be side lying and work hip external rotation here by picking that bottom leg up towards the ceiling. Same thing, holding it for 5 seconds, repeating it for 5 times. Okay, we're going to lay on our stomachs again and repeat that on the opposite leg now. So bending that knee, working that hip internal rotation, seeing how high can you rotate that upwards. Holding for 5 seconds, taking a quick rest and repeating again for a total of 5 repetitions. So next we're side lying, working that hip external rotation again. So next we're going to go up against the wall in a butterfly pose here. And you're pushing your knees down. You're going to hold for 5 seconds. And then now you're going to push your knees into your hands and hold for 5 seconds. Going back and forth like that 5 times. Breathe through it. See if your body will relax and give you some more range. So for the last pose of the day, we're gonna go into a 90-90. So 90 just means that your knee is coming straight out of your hip and then you're bending that knee. So we're working this hip internal rotation in a more extreme range of motion here, seeing if we can pick it up, and then working that hip external rotation to see how far we can bring that knee up towards the ceiling. Because this is more intense, we're only gonna do 3 repetitions here, and we're holding about 3 seconds. Switching sides, we're gonna do the same thing. Now, if you want, if you're not getting your foot off the ground, you can take your arm and grab it to see how high you can actually lift it up. And then take away some of the pressure there so that your muscles are holding that leg up there. You don't want to just be reliant on your arm pulling it into that position. All right, we're just gonna go windshield wiper those legs. And here's an easier option. Just put them out in front, just turn them in and out. All right, we're just gonna take a few breaths here, crossing the legs over and leaning forward. You work those hips really hard today, and this should just stretch it out here. Make sure to switch the legs. Thanks again for following along on one of my daily moves. I hope your hips feel buttery smooth and your spine feels silky smooth. Have a beautiful day, everyone.